What are some other examples of calm down syndrome? Things that people say to you in seemingly good nature, but never achieve anything other than pee you off? Let me explain something to you. When debating an issue, it's a condescending line. It didn't need to precede what you're about to say. It's the perfect compliment to let that sink in, which instantly ruins whatever might have preceded it. I work in retail, and whenever there is a rude, annoying customer that is screaming and making a scene, right before they leave I crack a huge smile and say have a fantastic day. Some of them start screaming again and it is the best feeling ever. I had a really pleasant conversation with a CSR the other day, and I ended the call with "No, I don't have any other questions. You've been very helpful. Have a great day." And she responded with "You have better one." Dang lady, this isn't a contest. I'm still laughing about it. I'll gladly do chores around the house, no hassle. But for some reason when I'm asked, I'll absolutely despise having to do anything. There's someone I work with who always asks how I am, sometimes multiple times a day. If I say anything middle of the road like "fine thanks" or "I'm doing okay," she always says incredulously "just okay." It never fails to pee me off. WTF is wrong with being okay? It's not like I'm feeling bad. What is it to you that I'm not jumping for joy every second of every day? Well, no Carol, not just okay. Just okay is what I was a minute ago, but now that you've annoyed the crap out of me for no reason, I'm not okay, I'm annoyed. Thanks, Carol. I'm the kind of person that tends to remain calm and methodical in an emergency situation. Serves me well as a professional firefighter. To bystanders I may appear to lack a sense of urgency or seriousness because I'm not emotionally freaking out like other people might. Yelling at me to hurry up will not improve the quality or timing of the results. In fact, it will probably have the opposite effect. Makes weak argument loses argument. LOL bro, you take things way too far, shut the frick up. At the customer service desk at a local store, there's a sign on the wall that reads, "There's no reason for it. It's just our policy." When a customer complaint can't be remedied, the store rep just smiles and points to the sign, which often further infuriates the customer. I'm happy they're doing that instead of bending over backwards to accommodate every idiot who wanders in. My mom used to do this thing where whenever you'd complain to her about anything, had a headache, bad day, feeling tired, sucky, etc., she'd immediately try to make you feel better by giving you an endless list of examples of people who have it so much worse than you. Oh, your head hurts? Well, my friend's little cousin has this amazingly rare genetic disease where she's in horrible pain every single day and she's going to die in a few years and never gets to grow up, and her entire family will be devastated and heartbroken forever. You should really feel lucky you just have a headache. I follow up with, "Yes, and some people are dead." That doesn't invalidate anyone's pain. I've worked as an EMT for the last 8 years now. It hasn't been a long time compared to other professions, but enough crap has happened in that time to make me consider at least once a year getting out of the profession. But I still am honored to do it. I hate when people ask what's the worst thing you've ever seen. I understand the curiosity. I understand they're looking for a riveting story, and a lot of times I try to humor people and give them the good stories that are either riveting or humorous. However, when that question is asked, I am instantly flooded with memories of a dead 4-year-old, ashen and grey, limp as a ragdoll. I'm reminded of a 13-year-old who blew away the side of their skull with a 12 gauge. The 35-year-old who ingested strychnine and arrested as I was sitting there holding his hand telling him I was going to take care of him, and he grabbed me and apologized to me for finding him like that. Countless others. If those are the stories you want to hear, I will tell them. They just don't make very good dinner conversation, and I can't always control my emotions. Just start with a dead, 600-pound woman who lived alone in an unair-conditioned trailer with 6 hungry cats, and see if they still want to know more. I'll never forget the first time I went on a ride along and they needed to pull out the whale top for a woman who fell and broke her hip. Holy heck. People, morbid obesity is real. Try smiling more. Yeah, I tried, but my clinical depression and PTSD decided I rather hate life today. Thanks. Frick all the way off. When people think they can solve other people's problems by giving them some obvious not helpful advice that always starts with "can't you just?" Example. I'm really struggling with low energy because of my insomnia. Can't you just try going to bed earlier? Wow, I never tried that. Thanks. Don't panic. But doesn't pee people off, but those words have never been followed by a sentence that didn't make the listener concerned. The best example, my mom called me at work and said don't panic but you need to give the doctor permission to treat your son. He'd split his head open and they were at the ER. Surprisingly enough I didn't panic. Telling me just be yourself when they notice that I'm being quiet around other people. If only they knew what I'm really like when I'm truly myself. Just be yourself. I'm quiet. My husband has a terrible habit of saying, "It'll be fine" for everything. I was in labor, having contractions, and he kept saying, "It'll be fine. It'll be fine." I eventually snapped and told him that phrase was banned forever from our lives. The sun's going down, then sun's getting real low. I'm sure you can do it. It's not that heavy. When talking about carrying lifting things, I have a bad back. If I'll lift heavy things or carry moderately heavy things for too long, my vertebrae get compressed and swell up. This isn't a secret. I tell people the instant it becomes relevant. And people consistently try to tell me they know my limits better than I do. Shut the frick up. I like being able to get out of bed without assistance. Thank you very much. When people tell expectant parents sleep now because you won't have a chance when the baby comes. Like that's going to be any comfort after 2 weeks of sleeping and 3-hour intervals, you stupid yam. I'm going to start calling people stupid yams. No, you are just overreacting. There is nothing wrong with your son. Told to me by family and co-workers when I began panicking after my 1-year-old son suddenly stopped all forms of social engagement and communication following a pretty severe fever. My wife's family and co-workers gave her the same reassurance. So she believed them and stated in very clear terms that I was going off my mind with worry that was unwarranted for. We had pretty severe arguments for months. I told her that it was not normal for a child to not look at you when being called by name or to not be startled when loud noises are made unexpectedly. Not all children are the same, everyone said. As time went by I also started showing her that a number of important development milestones were not being reached. Each time she insisted there was nothing wrong and that he'd soon catch up on those milestones. Supported by family and co-workers of course. Clearly for her I was in error and was going insane on a non-issue, but she relented and accepted to take our son to a child psychologist for evaluation. For my sake of course. To cut a long story short, the psychologist saw signs of autism and after a number of evaluations from different professionals over a number of years this was officially diagnosed. Thanks to my insistence we managed to catch the issue early and could start doing therapy at an age where it is more effective. Calm down my butt. I go looking for potential problems before they come looking for me. I was expecting you to say your kid had hearing loss. My wife had hearing loss as a result of a fever when she was a child. Her mother had to literally argue with the doctor to do a hearing test. It's so odd to me that someone would argue with a worried parent rather than just run a simple test. Even if the test turns out fine, at least the parent knows they can rule that out. When people tell me, "You should smile more," and then proceed to say, "You're so pretty when you smile," I hate that so much. I'm gazing off into the distance, mind preoccupied with other things. Mum, what's wrong? Me. Mumbles nothing. Mum, I know something's wrong, I can tell by the tone of your voice. B. I was just thinking about having cheesecake later, but now I'm genuinely P. I used to work retail. So I heard it a million times and now when I hear it in a store, I get furious for the employee. There's no price tag, so I guess it's free. Ha. Butthead laugh. You know how many times we hear that crap. Okay, simmering down now. We have a whiteboard in the staff room with a tally for all the regular shite customers come out with. The boss says we are not allowed to start a gambling ring in the workplace by betting on the outcome. First one to reach 20 tally marks. You'll change your mind about not wanting kids when you're older. Yes, that might be so, but right now I want the little gremlins as far away from us as earthly possible and I certainly don't want one ripping open my favorite hole to get out of me. I'm a college student with no job, so anytime someone tells me to spend money, For example, I go to school in a relatively rural area, so getting places is difficult. When I would talk about this, people will often say to me, "Why don't you just buy a car? Let me just pull a few grand out of my butt and go buy one. How come I never thought of that?" Or when I'm going through a depression and people list all the nice and positive things going on in my life. Like, I appreciate the gesture, but sometimes depression sets in for literally no reason, regardless of how your life is progressing. Telling me all the positives isn't stopping my brain from telling me everything is crap and I should just lay in bed instead of being productive, and occasionally cry for no reason. Being told all the positives just makes it worse. All this stuff in my life is great, yet I'm still depressed because I'm a big crap. When I've been in really stressed and anxious periods of my life, I've confided in friends about my fears that I've never lived up to expectations after a good education. I have no professional niche or marketable skills. I'm nearing 30 with an overdraft and ton of debt, and I'm petrified that I will never get a good career because I'm just not qualified for anything, and I'm scared I'll never have a home, a family, stability, a purpose, and I can't afford to retrain. I'm lonely, stressed, struggling, trapped and panicking, and really need guidance and suggestions because I cannot see a way out by myself, and I want a normal, stable, happy life path so badly. The answer? Well, no, you'll never get anywhere with a negative attitude like that. Jesus H. Christ. If thinking happy thoughts could solve all my problems, don't you think I'd be doing that? They mean it to be uplifting, I think. Trying to tell me to cheer up and convince myself anything is possible, and brushing off my first-hand experiences of professional rejection and financial trouble. They are trying to give me a positivity boost, but when you're that broken down already, it actually just sounds like not only are you feeling like crap, you're feeling like crap because it's your own fault for being a grumpy pessimist. Then one day a new friend saw me in this pit of panic and said, "Hey, that's not negativity. I can see how much you want better and just don't know how to get it. So I know some people who might be able to get you good work opportunities. I know you've got the right skills. I'll put in a good word for you and introduce you." Ended up landing me the most amazing role I've ever held. It didn't last. But I'll never forget the relief of someone saying, "You're not negative. You're not sulking and angry and resigning yourself to this and blaming others and saying there's no hope. You're asking people who've done better than you for guidance because you know there's better out there. Screw anyone telling you it's your own fault for negativity. Good woman. Good friend. Please don't tell depressed and anxious people it's just their own attitude stopping them and their concerns and experiences aren't valid. Even if you mean well and are trying to get them feeling more positive and believe in themselves. It just doesn't work like that. Holy frick, this is exactly how my life is right now. 29. Bachelor's degree, law degree, read, massive debt, been waiting tables and working crappy dead-end temp jobs for 3 years. No real experience in anything else. No conceivable way out. I feel you, man. Crap freaking sucks. Every day I just feel more and more trapped. Unable to see any way to get myself out of this situation. It's better to never hold a grudge. Frick that. I can understand if someone makes a mistake. But if that person refuses to apologize, then said person isn't butthole. I want nothing to do with them. Doesn't matter if it's family. My response to that is usually, "You're right. That's why I cut them out of my life. So I won't have to be constantly reminded of what a dong they are." It's not a grudge. It's a healthy removal of a disease. Career advice from stay-at-home moms, especially ones who have never worked and don't have any idea on what they are talking about and just like sticking their nose in everyone's business. Some examples. Aunt 1. My acquaintance's daughter has joined Company X in HR department. She recently went on an all-expenses-paid trip to Germany. You should apply too. Fact, Company X is well known for providing crap pay in the industry. Aunt 2. You should go to office more. I work from home a lot. You are not socializing enough. Aunt 1. You should have not left your job at well-known company. I have never heard of small company doing exciting work that I had joined. Also, Aunt 1 is mad at her son, 43-year-old, for switching jobs without consulting her and is giving him the silent treatment. Or boomers on the cusp of retirement. Being cut off and told you told me already. I listen to your stories repeatedly. At least be friendly and listen to mine. Or at least say something constructive like, oh, I remember that. Wasn't that when? Instead of just making me feel like my concerns, worries, emotions don't matter. It could be I felt like you, or others, didn't listen to what I was saying the first time. You being friends, co-workers. Yeah, but for real, some people have a habit of repeating themselves, especially in a debate or argument, and it's really annoying. I think I'm a generally friendly person, but when we go to a family gathering or a similar event, my mom feels a need to tell me to be nice and friendly. I might have had an attitude problem when I was 14, but I think I can handle being nice for a few hours now, Mom. Maybe you're more depressed cause you don't go outside. Just put on your shoes and go for a run. I know going outside and going for a walk helps with depression, but being in point where I can barely take care of myself and have trouble with simplest things like getting up from bed or eating, it sure as heck isn't as easy as just putting my shoes on and going out. When someone I don't know calls me by my name, especially in a sales setting, I either feel like I am in trouble or like I'm being conned. Don't be so offended. She was just joking. Don't be so hot-headed. No, be that person is being an butthole and straight up bullying, harassing me. I really hate to hear that line when I was being bullied, but when I fight back, I was wrong and overreacting. I had someone flat out chew me out in public the other day, trying to be a bully. When I snapped back, I don't let people bully me. She stood back and said, well, you don't need to be so snotty about it. No, sit still and be quiet while I verbally abuse you. When people ask for rides at the last minute, I am happy to give rides, but when someone assumes I will give them one, it really pushes my button. Backseat drivers. My girlfriend will yell watch out when seeing a car getting into my lane or something when I am already reacting to it. It's so unhelpful and just really stressful. Person. Hey man, can you do the thing for me? Me. Sure. Person. Okay, but I really need you to do the thing. Me. Yeah, I said I would. Person. Okay, but I need you to understand I really need you to do it. Like it's super important. Me. I get it. I said I would do it and I will. Person. I know you said you would, but are you really going to do it? Me. Well, apparently you think I won't, so let's go with number. Why are you grumpy? I'm just a little miffed, but I'll get over it in a couple of minutes. Just let me have this time not to be a happy smiley person. Normally makes me properly grumpy. My husband asks me all the time if I'm grumpy. It drives me insane and I instantly get pee off. I usually answer with no, I am. Had someone at work the other day tell me that everything happens for a reason. God never gives us something we can't handle and it makes us stronger. Normally those platitudes don't really bother me, but seriously? That's such an entitled rich person way to look at the world. Yeah, I'm sure some innocent kid who dies of a treatable disease in some destitute country is really only being given something he can handle by God. It's real easy to say that sort of thing when you're super secure and have no real serious problems to deal with. When I disagreed, she told me that I just hadn't experienced anything bad enough in my life to understand. We don't speak anymore. Kill her whole family and recite that line back. When my mother passed, many people would say to me she is in a better place now, she is still watching over you, or you will see her again someday. All of these people intended to comfort me, but as an atheist their statements only further reinforced that she was gone and that I will never see or hear her again. It just hurt, you know? And what made it worse was that people really were trying to comfort me, but it was literally the worst thing they could say. I'm sorry for your loss. I completely understand. I recently miscarried triplets and have gotten so much of this. If others find comfort in that, fine. But don't spout it at me cause I don't. Plus the whole it's God's will crap. No need to get angry when I don't agree with a particular person. I'm not angry. I just have a different opinion than you and am passionate about it. I'm sorry that you have to have your own way all the time and feel that someone who disagrees with you is getting angry. I just have a B face, both active and resting, and I can't help that. I'm very close to saying this next time. Take a deep breath. I stutter, like full on diagnosed from an early age. I spent all of K-12 in speech therapy. I know how to deal with my stutter. Unless you're a licensed professional in the field, I know more about it. I understand that you're trying to help, but all you're making me want to do is deck you. I cannot stand when someone says something like it's no big deal or don't worry about it, because it doesn't impact their life but it has an effect on mine or those around me. I have suffered social anxiety all my life, and when I was a kid it manifested in behavior problems as I didn't have the skills to express these emotions properly. My mom would always ask if I had a headache. This always made me mad because not only did I not ever have a headache, but it made my feelings of frustration and fear feel invalidated. Everything happens for a reason. Unless you believe in a mysterious capricious deity, this statement is unhelpful. In this case, the reason for something is either its literal cause, or some arbitrary meaning that you apply retroactively after the fact. Either way, it doesn't do anything for you at present. Sometimes the reason is that sometimes life sucks. My mom has a couple that irk me to no end. She says, if it's meant to be, it will be. I'm job searching right now, and this is her go-to for situations that don't work out. When things do work out, she says, I've been praying for you. Looks like saint. Whoever has come through for me again. Do you think it might actually be my skills and experience that led to this job offer rather than your magical sky fairy? Ever since I started college, every time there's a gathering the only conversation opener anyone will use with me is how's school? Mother, I just told everyone else at this party the same crap I am about to tell you. I would literally rather have you ask a generic how's it going, at least then there's hope for a different outcome. I'm extremely skinny for my age. I weigh 80-ish pounds and I'm a 14-year-old boy, supposed to be around 110 now at least. And people always tell me to eat a sandwich or hit the gym, like, come on, I do all that stuff and that's no different from fat shaming me. So how would you like it if you were fat and I told you to hit the gym and not eat anymore? Those people pee me off. I feel you. I'm really short. People like to point it out to me, as if I've never noticed. I really wish we could just stop joking about giving unsolicited advice about other people's bodies. Asking if you're okay when, clearly, you're not. Saying it will get better. There's someone for everyone. Everything happens for a reason. When people give you patronizing advice, double points if it's unsolicited. They must think they're the smartest M on the planet and everyone else is just slightly smarter than an amoeba or something. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.